Welcome to the Bowling Green Metal Forming Contractor or Temporary Staff Safety Orientation. Today we are going to cover some safety rules and expectations that you will need to know before you begin your assignment at Bowling Green Metal Forming, as safety is the #1 priority at BGM. Bowling Green Metal Forming's objective is to provide a safe and helpful work environment. Active participation and cooperation of all contractors, subcontractors, and BGM team members is vital to meeting this objective. All site team members have a shared responsibility for a safe project. The HSC policy is reviewed and signed annually by the General Manager of BGM. Our goal is to have an injury-free workplace, take necessary and reasonable steps to eliminate hazards, manage risks, and ensure safe behaviors. Unsatisfactory performance will be addressed at the appropriate level and may include work stoppage, suspension, retraining, or removal from the site of the firm and/or individual. Contractors are directly responsible for the safety of their team members and their subcontractors' team members. This responsibility includes the establishment and implementation of procedures consistent with OSHA 29 CFR 1926 and 29 CFR 1910, BGM requirements, manufacturer's instructions, team member training, and supplying and maintaining equipment in good working order. Team members are responsible to protect their own safety and health and not to endanger others by working in a safe manner while complying with OSHA, employer rules, BGM safety rules, and practicing good housekeeping. If you identify an unsafe situation, bring it to the attention of your leadership or the site safety resource. Do not authorize or perform unsafe work. If the situation cannot be adequately corrected, do not perform unsafe work and contact BGM leadership. Please take a moment to note the contact information for local medical, police, fire, and emergency services. All accidents, incidents, and near-miss incidents must be reported immediately to your leader, regardless of how minor. Any incident not reported immediately to the leader will be treated as non-work related. All near-miss incidents will be thoroughly investigated to determine what changes need to be made to prevent future injury or death. A copy of the report must be forwarded to BGM for review within 24 hours. First aid supplies will be maintained on site by the contractors. Contractors are required to provide at least one person trained in CPR or first aid on site at all times. If it is absolutely necessary, the BGM nurse is available for first aid only. Report all first aid incidents immediately to your leader for appropriate documentation. If you become injured or are around somebody who is injured, remember the following. Try to keep the exposure to one area. Stay in one place. Let help come to the injured. This will reduce the risk of contaminating a larger area with blood. Protect yourself from exposure by taking universal precautions. Remember, there are nurses and first responders available at BGM to handle these situations. Any items such as gloves or sleeves that have blood on them need to be disposed of properly. Please be sure that you don't throw these items away in the trash. They need to be disposed of properly in a biohazard bag or container. Please take a minute and familiarize yourself with the facility's fire evacuation routes. This map displays the locations of on-site severe weather shelters. Please take a minute to make yourself familiar with it. There are 2 contractor gathering points. The Contractor East gathering point is located close to the East Guard Shack. Additionally, the Contractor West gathering point is located on the west side of the property. Be sure to follow the pedestrian aisles in the plant that are clearly marked with blue paint outlined in yellow. If there is not a pedestrian aisle, walk close to the side of a common aisle until you get to a pedestrian aisle. Do not cut through workstations and always use aisles to travel to your destination within the plant. Ensure there is no traffic in aisles before crossing. Look both ways and cross in a direct manner. Tobacco use of any type is strictly prohibited inside BGM. There are designated tobacco use areas on site outside the building. Team members may use these areas for tobacco usage. This includes all types of tobacco products, including chewing tobacco, cigarettes, etc. Cigarette butts do not belong on the ground. Please ensure you utilize the proper disposal containers to eliminate the possibility of polluting our stormwater systems, grounds, and ponds. The purpose of this personal cell phone policy is to eliminate the potential safety hazard that is created when a team member, visitor, contractor, or temporary employee is distracted from the job he or she should be performing. It is also to protect the privacy of our customers and the products we produce for them. Personal cell phone usage is not permitted on the BGM production floor, nor should such phones be visible or powered on while in any designated PPE area. However, company-provided cell phones and PT phones are permitted on the production floor. Personal cell phone usage will only be allowed in designated areas during scheduled lunch and breaks. Designated areas include the main cafeteria, satellite cafeterias, locker rooms, parking lots, break areas, and smoking areas. Violation of this policy will result in disciplinary action up to your assignment ending at BGM. Here's an overview of BGM's contractor requirements. Attend a pre-start meeting with your BGM contact prior to any work being commenced. Each contractor must have a safety rep on site for their company. The contractor safety rep must have a current OSHA 10-hour construction card within the last 3 years. The safety rep's name must be communicated to all team members. The contractor must be on site when their team members or subcontractors are on site at all times. A copy of all the contractors' and subcontractors' written health and safety programs must be on site, as well as copies of any team member's training. Contractors that are trades-related will be required to conduct daily safety talks with their teams on all shifts and document them while on the BGM site. Documentation of the safety talks must be forwarded to your BGM contact. A safety and environmental site inspection will be conducted by the contractor safety contact every shift while on site and forwarded to the BGM contact. Temporary team members are to enter the site through the East Guard entrance. Each lane is clearly identified and all temporary team members must use Gate 1 only, where you will sign in with site security. If you are dropped off for work, you must be dropped off at the corner of the drive just past the gate entrance. Please do not allow your driver to pull into the gate lane and block the gate. All contractors are to enter through the West Guard entrance. While on site at BGM, the posted speed limit is 10 miles an hour. Please make sure you observe all stop signs, speed bumps, the posted speed limit, and are utilizing all crosswalks. BGM has designated motorcycle parking located in the front center parking lot during the months of April to October. Motorcyclists must use this designated parking area. Vehicles are prohibited. There is also designated parking for visitors and handicapped vehicles. Do not park in these areas. Violators will be towed at the owner's expense. Firearms and other weapons shall not be brought onto the site, including parking areas. And team members must be riding in a seated position while in any vehicle or equipment, and seat belts must be worn if equipped. Bowling Green Metal Forming reserves the right to have the employer administer reasonable suspicion drug and alcohol screening to any team member believed to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol due to suspicious or unsafe behavior. Bowling Green Metal Forming will also require that any team member involved in an accident or incident to be given a post-accident drug and alcohol screening in accordance with their employer's policy to determine if drugs or alcohol could have been a contributing factor to the accident or incident. All team members must remain in an acceptable physical and mental state while at work, be familiar with the site health and safety manual, work in compliance with OSHA and site requirements, handle tools, machinery, vehicles, equipment, and chemicals according to the operating instructions, manufacturer's guidelines, and operate in the manner for which they were designed. Report any defects or hazardous conditions immediately to a supervisor. Do not attempt repairs or alterations to any tool, machine, vehicle, or equipment unless authorized to do so and you possess the applicable certification records. Report any unsafe acts or conditions immediately to your leader. Take all necessary steps to prevent accidents from occurring. Use all provided safety devices in their intended manner. Do not alter any safety device or operate any tool, machine, vehicle, or equipment where safety devices have been removed, for example, machine guarding. Properly wear all personal protective equipment. Inspect all PPE on a daily basis and remove from service and report to your supervisor if any defects exist. Keep work area orderly and free from hazards and perform regular cleanup activities. Never work in a manner that may endanger yourself or someone else. Horseplay or pranks will not be tolerated and will result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. The following section deals with hazard-specific information. Team members shall not be permitted to wear loose-fitting clothing or cuffs, torn or raggedy clothing, greasy or oily clothing, gloves or boots, rings or bracelets of any type, watches which are conductive. Only watches that are non-conductive and have a tearaway band are permitted. Hoop-type earrings and stud-type earrings are permitted, but no larger than 2 centimeters. Long hair must be restrained so it does not block vision or become an entanglement hazard. Necklaces must be tucked into clothing with no more than 2 buttons open at the top. For safety reasons, long hair must be tied back. Here you see examples of what is approved and not approved. Be sure that longer hair is restrained either in a bun, clip, or rubber band. Always remember to restrain hair completely when working on or around rotating machinery. Violation of this policy will result in disciplinary action up to your assignment ending at BGM. The following equipment and clothing are required for admittance to the site. A high visibility vest with reflective striping. A hard hat is required when there is a possibility of an overhead hazard. Shirts with at least a 4-inch sleeve, no tank tops, and shirt sleeves cannot be rolled up. Long pants. Steel toe boots with adequate tread and ankle support. That means no slick-soled boots. Approved safety glasses with side shields or over-the-top glasses. No tinted safety glasses. And approved hearing protection. Safety glasses with permanent eye shields must be worn when there is a danger of exposure to chemical, physical, and light hazards. Safety glasses must meet the requirements of ANSI Z87.1. Cutting goggles with the appropriately shaded lenses are required during oxy or acetylene welding, cutting, or brazing. Special goggles or face shields may be required when handling certain types of chemicals. Flame-resistant jackets are required when welding, cutting, or brazing. Hearing protection should be available in the work area and must be worn while performing activities with high noise exposure, 85 decibels or above, for example, jackhammering, drilling, etc. Team members must be trained and certified for the use of fall protection. Fall protection is required when working at a height of 4 feet or greater outside the confines of a guardrail system. Personal fall arrest systems, or PFASs, and components must be capable of supporting 5,000 pounds without failure. Preferred lanyards would be retractable. Harness straps shall be in place and be snug to prevent snagging. The PFAS shall be rigged to limit free fall distance. PFASs shall be inspected prior to use. Remove from service if any defects exist, such as cuts, tears, burns, hardware corrosion, or faulty snap hooks. Guardrail systems must be equipped with top rails located between 39 and 45 inches above the walking or working surface, which are capable of supporting a force of 200 pounds. Guardrail systems must also include a mid-rail located midway between the top edge of the top rail and the walking or working surface, capable of supporting a minimum of 150 pounds. Notice, fall protection is always required when working within 6 feet of an unprotected edge. Here are some general tool use and maintenance guidelines. All hand and power tools shall be maintained in a safe condition. All tools must be disconnected from their power source during servicing, maintenance, or when changing blades. Pneumatic tools shall be secured to hose and pins by Chicago fittings to prevent accidental disconnection and hose whipping. Pre-approval of diesel-powered equipment is required by BGM. All diesel-powered equipment must have a scrubber with a letter from the manufacturer to ensure air requirements are met. Adequate ventilation must be provided in areas where fuel-operated tools or equipment are in use. Safety devices on power-actuated tools must be in place and tested daily prior to use. Appropriate PPE must be worn while operating hand or power tools. And tools shall be equipped with constant contact on-off switches. All electrical tools must be inspected prior to work, every day. Do not modify any electrical equipment unless approved by the manufacturer and it's performed by a qualified person. Any defective electrical tools or equipment must be removed from service immediately until repaired or replaced. Regarding electrical work, worn or frayed cords shall not be used. Extension cords shall not be secured using any method that may cause damage to the cord, for example tie wire, number 9 wire, welding rods, etc. Temporary power outlets shall be equipped with GFCIs. Extension cords with GFCIs, welding leads, cables, etc. shall not be laying across roadways unless adequately protected from damage. If working on equipment that is greater than 50 volts, the employee must be a certified electrician and use all protective equipment required to be in compliance with the standard NFPA 70E, including fire-resistant clothing, face shields, etc. When dealing with all energy isolation situations, team members shall receive training prior to implementing lockout-tagout procedures. All sources of energy shall be disconnected, blinded and/or locked, and tagged out. Stored energy shall be released or blocked out and tested. Movable parts shall be mechanically blocked or locked and tagged out. And each team member must have his or her own locks, identified with his or her name and company. Removing a lock can only be done by the team member who applied the lock, or by the company's written procedure for lock removable. Group lockout may be used, but each team member has to have the same level of protection in the procedure. Always lift and handle heavy loads using mechanical equipment, for example, hoists, cranes, dollies, forklifts, etc. Ask for assistance from team members when lifting heavier items. Stand clear of cables and lifting devices under tension. Avoid working under suspended loads. Tag lines of at least 10 feet in length must be utilized to assist in lowering of materials. Communicate with all crane and derrick operators by using the universal hand signals that your company posts at the job site, or communicate directly to the operator by means of a portable radio. While at BGM, only a trained and certified operator can operate forklifts, cranes, and other carts. All operators must carry proof of training on their person for random inspection at any time. Pre-shift inspections must be conducted before the use of equipment, and all equipment must have a horn or beeper and a strobe. Only authorized team members shall operate aerial lifts. The lift shall be inspected and the controls tested each day prior to use and a pre-shift inspection completed and documented. A PFAS is required when in the basket. Team members shall always be tied off to the provided lugs in the basket. Tying off to an adjacent pole or structural member is prohibited. Keep your feet on the floor of the lift at all times. When leaving the lift at the end of use, ensure to store the bucket in the down position. All overhead work must ensure the safety of others by the use of signs being posted around the work area, caution tape or snow fence being placed around the hazard. The use of hard hats are required if ground team members are supporting the task above. And if an overhead hazard is present, a hard hat is required for team members in the lift baskets. Never walk or work under a suspended or moving load. If you are assigned to the press department, you must be aware of overhead crane movement within the area. The cranes are equipped with horns and strobe lights to alert you when cranes are in motion. You must be constantly looking for this movement so you are not in the way of an object which may be overhead. Remember, awareness is the key to safety. The definition of a confined space is an area of limited or restricted means of entry and exit that has the potential for engulfing the entrant and has the potential for an IDLH atmosphere, or contains any other recognized hazards. Examples of IDLH atmospheres are oxygen deficiency, higher LEL readings, and toxic gases, fumes, or vapors. All entry into confined space areas is to be done by permit only. Each contractor on site at BGM is responsible for using his or her own company program. You must ensure that all personnel are trained and certified to perform their required duties. Additionally, you must inform the BGM contact of the confined space entry before the entry can be performed. The following pre-entry requirements must be met. Entrants and attendants must be properly trained. Rescue plans and provisions have been made. Atmospheric monitoring has been conducted. A trained and qualified attendant is in place. A trained and qualified entrant is in place and has the means to communicate with the attendant. And finally, a confined space entry safe work permit has been completed and posted near the area of entry. Stairways, ladders, and other safe means of egress must be provided in excavations that are 4 feet or more in depth. Lateral travel distance shall not exceed 25 feet in either direction to get to a means of egress. Daily inspections of the trench must be performed by a competent person. Proper shoring, sloping, or benching must be in place prior to operating inside of a trench. Site-built ladders are prohibited. Ladders shall be inspected prior to use. If your company does not have a form, contact your BGM contact for a copy of ours. Damaged ladders shall be removed from service immediately. Ladders shall extend 36 inches above upper landings. Ladders should be properly secured by tying off or by having an employee heel the ladder. Ladders shall always be maintained in a safe condition. Non-conductive ladders shall be used near energized electrical equipment, and rubber feet shall be in place and in good repair. All scaffolding at BGM must be designed and built by a qualified person. Scaffold footings shall be sound, rigid, and capable of supporting the loaded scaffold without settling or displacement. Scaffolds with a height-to-base ratio of more than 4:1 shall be restrained from tipping by guying, tying, bracing, or equivalent means. Guardrails and toe boards shall be installed on all open sides and ends of platforms for scaffold more than 10 feet in height. A scaffold tagging system shall be in place, inspected daily, and documented by a competent person, ready for a random audit at any time. Lastly, scaffold planking must be at least 18 inches wide. All chemicals or hazardous substances must be pre-authorized by the BGM Environmental Coordinator and the HSC Area Leader prior to starting work. For example, paint, weld wire, oil, etc. Safety data sheets, or SDSs, for all chemicals in use shall be maintained by the contractors and/or subcontractor. All containers must be properly labeled to meet GHS requirements, and all team members shall be trained in accordance to their company's written hazard communication program. Please take a minute to get familiar with this sample safety data sheet. Fuel gases such as acetylene shall be stored at least 20 feet away from oxidizers, like oxygen. All cylinders shall be secured to carts or stored in their proper location with caps in place while not in use. Cylinders containing any gases other than breathing air shall not be taken into confined spaces. When working in the storage and layout area, remember the following rules. Propane must be secured in a locked cage. All cages must be provided by the contractor. Gas cylinders must be secured in a locked cage and marked as to the type and hazards. Also, if they are empty or full. Flammable liquids must be stored in an approved container and grounded cabinet. And corrosive liquids must be in a separate and approved cabinet. In order to aid with fire prevention, do not block exit routes, fire extinguishers, or electrical panels. Maintaining 3 feet of clearance in these areas is a fire code requirement. No smoking is permitted when handling or using flammable or combustible materials, or in areas where these materials are stored. Firefighting equipment shall be readily visible and access shall be maintained at all times. Lastly, fire extinguishers shall be inspected on a monthly basis. When performing hot work on site at BGM, all contractors and subcontractors must follow the BGM hot work policy. The BGM contact will be responsible for completing the hot work permit and ensuring a fire watch will be available for 1 hour after work is complete. All team members involved in hot work will be responsible for ensuring the work area is adequately protected. Hot work permits are to be posted at the site. Areas below hot work activities shall be properly barricaded to prevent injuries. A working fire extinguisher and a trained attendant must be available and ready to use in the event of a fire within the area. And open burning is prohibited. Please take note of the following approved and unapproved storage devices for flammable substances. Let's talk about some general housekeeping rules. The general contractors are responsible to maintain a safe workplace. Housekeeping is critical to a safe workplace and daily cleanup is required. Bowling Green Metal Forming will monitor housekeeping and contractors are expected to comply immediately with any cleanup orders directed to them by Bowling Green Metal Forming. Failure on the part of the contractor to maintain excellent housekeeping or to comply with cleanup orders may result in back charges from Bowling Green Metal Forming, who will arrange to have the cleanup done. Lastly, all materials brought onto the Bowling Green Metal Forming site must be removed or disposed of accordingly by the contractor. All material and equipment shall be stored and transported in a safe manner. No materials or equipment shall be stored in entrance or exit routes. Scrap lumber, waste materials, and trash shall be kept clear of the work area and properly disposed of by each contractor. Nails must be removed or bent back to prevent puncture injuries. Finally, metal banding must be properly disposed of to prevent tripping hazards and laceration injuries. Contractors are responsible for the removal of refuse and waste which is brought on-site or generated by the contractor. This includes the removal of items such as paint cans, waste liquids, construction materials, material containers, and packaging. Contractors must never pour chemicals or waste liquids into sinks, sewers, or outside. ISO 14001 applies to Class A contractors such as trades or machine integrators who may create significant environmental impacts. As a BGM temporary worker, contractor, or subcontractor, your requirements are the following. Have the contractor policy statement on file. Comply with EMS, laws, and other requirements. Understand how your work impacts the environment. Know who to contact with concerns, and know how to report potential emergencies. A spill is defined as any release of any volume of a substance. At BGM, emergency spill kits are always available. If you need assistance with a spill, call the maintenance department. You must stay available to report the nature of a spill. If you are unsure of how to dispose of any material, you must confirm with the safety and environmental coordinators. If a spill does occur, you must complete an environmental incident report and submit to Bowling Green Metal Forming within 24 hours of the spill occurring. Your hand is one of the most complex parts of your body. Its intricate structure is a finely tuned movement of nerves, tendons, tissues, and bones working together as a unit. On the job, your hands are the tool that make you a highly skilled and valued worker. Yet, as important as your hands are, most people are careless about hand safety. About 180,000 people suffer serious hand injuries each year. Many the result of job-related accidents. Sometimes faulty equipment, broken tools, or a dangerous work environment may be hazardous. But the most common cause of hand injury is human error due to boredom with a routine job, inattentiveness to details and safety procedures, and distractions in the workplace. Please remember that minor injuries are a warning that you are not paying close enough attention to your work. The first steps to preventing hand injuries is to know the dangers involved in your job and how to avoid them. Some hazards include pinch points, which includes gears, chains, rollers, conveyors, belts, and pulleys. Avoid placing your hands in these danger zones. Hot spots or objects includes welded metal, metal casing, and heated machines. Protective gloves can shield your hands from hot machinery or other parts. Rotating machines includes drills, bench grinders, hand grinders, and die grinders. Keep hands free and clear from all rotating machinery and never wear gloves while operating these machines. Automated machinery includes drill presses, CNC machines, and automated assembly machines. Automated machinery must have proper guarding in place to prevent entry of hands into points of operation. Jewelry and loose clothing, such as shirt sleeves, shirt tails, dangling jewelry, bracelets, and rings, also pose a potential entanglement hazard. You may be required to use a grinder during the course of your assignment at Bowling Green Metal Forming. You must ensure that you wear the proper PPE while performing this task. Earplugs, steel-toe shoes, safety glasses, and a face shield are required at all times when grinding. Be sure guards are in place before using, as this is the operator's responsibility. Inspect the tool before using it to make sure it's in good working order with no parts missing. Make sure the cord has 3 prongs and check to make sure the housing is not cracked or damaged. Signs alert you to real or potential dangers in your workplace. They can also provide information to you, such as PPE requirements. Signs come in different shapes, sizes, and color, and each conveys their own specific message. Danger and caution signs are the most frequently used, but you will also see warning, biohazard, notice, and safety signs. Signs should be placed as close to the hazard as possible, and all signs should be well lit, in clear and direct view, and easy to understand and obey. The labels, signs, and tags in your workplace are there to help you work safely. Not reading them or remaining ignorant of their meaning can and does have serious consequences. If you don't understand or obey labels and signs, you may be risking your safety or maybe someone else around you. Be sure to pay close attention to all warning signs and labels in your workplace. Hopefully, after watching today, you have learned what will be expected from you during your assignment at BGM. Remember, safety is everyone's responsibility.